Okay, so this morning I saw some stuff online. I had some conversations with some neighbors, and the general consensus is I wish that black men, because those are the men I'm concerned with, right? The other races can do whatever they want. But I wish that black men stop being so dumb smart. Apparently now there's a thing about tattoos. Tattoos on a woman is just like indicative of her having this wild past, like a biker gang. Seriously. So tattoos aren't art. You do realize that people have to draw that. They have to think of these things. It's creativity. There have been tattoos in history. And now I can agree with y'all if you're saying, like, you know, the goofy tattoos like fruit baskets or cartoon characters or whatever, because that's not, you know, that's something that they just like and decided to cement into their skin. They may or may not agree with it later on. They may or may not still like it, but that's a tattoo that should be fleeting. I am going to say, you can call me a hit dog or whatever you want, because I did get hit by that. I do have tattoos. I have 5 of them. But they're small. They're in places that could be hidden. And also, these tattoos are very meaningful to me. I will say that each one of my tattoos comes out of a place where I'm tired of repeating the same thing about myself. So I just get it inked, and then that way people don't have to walk up to me and ask certain questions. So there's a sun, because for the most part, I try to be, you know, upbeat and have a sunny disposition. In our culture, we have a lot that goes wrong in a day. We have a lot of sadness, a lot of anger and fear and all of that. So I don't think that it's my job to bring that to more people. So, you know, I try to do the opposite. My goal, at least if you talk to me today, your whole day wouldn't have been ruined unless you're just hell-bent on being sad and I walk off. The confrontations that I get into, I can say 100% of them were started by someone else, because I am completely against me having a bad day and bringing somebody else into that misery, because how does that solve the problem? It's just not logical, in my opinion. It's not a right answer. It's going to make everything worse, and it doesn't solve what you want. So I just avoid that. So now I do walk away. It takes a lot to make me angry. But once I do that, my first order of business is to leave. You know, you have some people that will follow you and keep picking at you. So then, therefore, you're not able to do that. Then you have no choice. And you don't have to forgive me for it, because I forgive myself for it. With that being said, I also have a rose, because I am sweet. But, you know, it has thorns. I have my zodiac symbol because, you know, it's for my birthday. So get over it. And then I have my kids' names in hieroglyphics. You know, because I'm black. The other tattoo, you don't need to, because nobody will see that tattoo unless I allow them to. So it doesn't matter. It does still say something about how I feel. Here's a hint. It has to do with me feeling like just a number in the country. Like, that's how they treat black people. So anyway, the point for all of that is there are plenty of reasons to have tattoos that don't involve like, you know, all this illicit, immoral stuff that y'all think of. Just because black culture as a whole tends to do this. Just one thing that stands out, and then mental laziness, better safe than sorry. Everybody that has that is now part of that stupid description that you've come up with. And it's never based on, like, you know, research or fact or any consensus. You're going to get a lot of hit dogs. You're getting a lot of pushback, because what does a tattoo have to do with promiscuity? Because we don't have rules that say tattoos are illegal. We don't have, like, some cultures, it's not even amoral. Some cultures it is, because you're marking up your temple or whatever. But if you have your ears pierced, if you're doing drugs, if you're promiscuous, man or woman, you're still not respecting your temple. So miss me with all of that. So I might sound angry this morning. I'm not angry. I just am over it. This is my tired voice. we write off a lot of our own people, and we expect other people to respect us. They don't, because they literally say the things that they hear us say. I get raked over the coals for being able to have friends that aren't black, of all races. And you know why I'm able to do that? Because I can talk to them and listen. Don't even think that means if I'm friends with somebody of a different race that I'm not checking them. If they say some disrespectful stuff about black people, if they say something that's inaccurate or racist, I am going to be the first person to check them. So I can have friends that aren't black. Y'all can't, because y'all don't know what y'all doing.
McDonald's, can I get for you?
Yes, can I have a large coffee?
Large coffee, any cream and sugar for you?
3 creams and 5 equals.
3 creams, 5 equals?
Yes.
With that coffee you want more?
Oh, and a small cup of ice. And that's it.
Okay, I have the large coffee, 3 creams, 5 equals, and a small ice.
Yes. Yes.
Alright, 2:15 at the middle window, please.
Okay, thanks. So, okay, yeah, this is my morning addiction. Sorry. Not even sorry.
Hello.
Hello. Is it? Okay.
McDonald's, what can I get for you?
I don't need. Let me see. So anyway, they literally parrot back all of the things that they've heard us say. Now, did they say it first, and now we're saying it about our own people because we got it from them? Maybe, maybe not. Most likely, yes. But the point is, we're not giving them anything other than that to say. We're still saying it, which means we don't believe that it's not true, and we don't believe that if it was true in the past, that it's over. We still believe that. You know, I'm fine, and you? And can I have a big straw? Thank you. You too. So anyway, you know what's worse than being actually locked up? Is being free but still locked up. When you're locked up, you're able to realize that right now it is a timeout. It's permission for you not to do anything going forward, but to focus on you and how you got here and what you would have when you get out. When you're free and your brain is locked up, which is what most black people are. I mean, it takes work for us to not remain in that thought process. It didn't happen overnight. No kid is born hating themselves or hating anyone else. Everything that they do was taught to them at some point. So it's not something that happened overnight. So it's not going to be something that's resolved overnight. I don't like the microwave attitude of our culture. From what I discovered, all of our past roots, nothing was quick. Everything was a ritual. Everything took time, and you were patient because you wanted to make sure that it was, absolutely correct. It was more pride. We don't have that. It was stripped away. Okay. So do we have to wait for them to give it back? Sometimes I think y'all act like a scorned ex-lover to white people. It's like, okay, so they don't like us. They use us and they threw us away. What are you going to do about it? You can move on. Oh, but you're going to, like right now, all of this reparation talk sounds like to me calling and snooping on the social media of an ex. That's what it sounds like to me. You still waiting on them to see if they're sad about the way they treated us. You're still trying to figure out if they're living their life and moving on, and it angers you when you see that they're okay, and they don't care. And they're getting fed up. They don't want to hear anymore about, what all they did to us. And I know it. I've had some people in conversations say, well, we don't care what they are tired of. Okay, but this is you just yelling outside their bedroom window. You know what the best revenge is? Living well. Remember? Did we all get told this? So I feel like our parents did teach us, you know, some stuff that could be helpful in our adult age. And why? Because whether they were under a systematic oppression or not, we still live here. So unless we are working on changing that, and we haven't even agreed on what we want to change it to. So at this point, that's as good a plan as any, unless y'all coming up with something else. Because I get so much pushback when I say we need to come up with something else. I hate about when I have to sit with somebody and listen to a bunch of complaining, and then when I start suggesting solutions, nothing will ever work. It's always stupid. It's always too much energy. I'm going to just get up and go do it anyway, even though I hate every second of it. And if you cared about me, you sit here and listen to me whine and complain, not do anything, actually come and participate in the very thing that I'm mad about with me, so that I can say that you didn't come over and help. It's ridiculous. So just let me know when y'all come up with a plan, because apparently mine never works. I literally have people who tell me that I'm doing a disservice to my kids when I try to teach them that they don't have to accept all of this stuff that's being done to black people. And it's not just my kids. It's the kids I work with. It's the kids in my family and friends. It's the kids that I meet anywhere. I want them to know that they don't have to keep this. Because my generation is very miserable. I'm all for creating black families. I would love that. As a person who had one, I didn't know any different. I grew up with both my parents in the house until one day it wasn't anymore. So that's always going to be my foundation. That's always going to be my building blocks. That's my default. I would like that for everybody, because I did feel enveloped. I felt protected. I felt like it was okay to be me and to shine. Once that wasn't happening anymore, when I look back now, it did affect me. But I just wasn't allowed to talk about it. The adults beat the feelings right back into you and don't let you even if you're accidentally expressing an emotion about it, it doesn't matter. It needs to stop. Because you want to lie to people and say that everything's okay. So if everything is okay and you don't want to, have the embarrassment of being, not comfortable for a second, which it shouldn't be embarrassing, because anybody that would be making fun of you has went through their own share of dumb stuff. So if you don't want to go through that, then you don't get to claim that whatever the action is did anything to you. It did, it's something that should be minimal, that you should overlook. You can't have a problem with something that wasn't damaging. It's either neutral or good. So did they raise us appropriately or not? I don't understand how black parents can raise their kids and then say how much they hate the generation once they turn 18. You don't hate those kids. What you hate is becoming obsolete. So did your generation think that you were going to be the ones to make sure that nothing else new came about? Everything was just supposed to stay the same until you die? What would that cycle look like if every group of adults thought that way? We would never have anything. Sometimes you just got to come out. I want our elders to know how to do computer stuff. I don't want them dying not knowing how. Because I feel like if they see it, they'll realize that life has moved forward. That things aren't what it was in their childhood. They'll still have access to things. And I feel like they wouldn't be so sad or angry. And they might not even have to go through so much sickness towards the end, because they still feel connected with the world. So, but you know how hard that is to try to talk to our elders and say that? Because what if one day I can't do it? I feel like that gives them their independence. How do you go from being so independent into now you have to depend on everybody because there's something that you can't do? I don't ever want them to have to say that. I don't want anybody to be able to take advantage of them. People who do these little scams for older people. But anyway, back to the point. The point of this morning is because our men and women, for whatever reason, are judging one another based on a thought process that we didn't have anything to do with. So are you people telling me that if you meet a feminine woman, you don't know she has any tattoos until you get to that point where you guys are getting ready to be intimate, and now you're gonna walk away from all of that? Not me, because you know I'm on strike with y'all. I'm not playing with y'all with this in 2019, but some other people. You're just gonna let it all go, right? Because you got to hang up about tattoos. You can absolutely have your preference. You can. But you don't get to then say, like, that sentence should stop when you say, I don't like women with tattoos. Or either, I don't like men with tattoos. That's where that sentence needs to stop. But see, y'all don't stop there. Y'all like to say more like, I don't like women or men with tattoos because that means that they've had a bad past. You know, like saying something like it's an actual fact. You know, and that's not even what that means. It's not even a logical statement. They probably actually had a more freer past, because if you are like in a very, very strict community that does not like tattoos as much as y'all claim, you wouldn't have been able to get it. It wouldn't have been any place for you to go to get one, and then you definitely wouldn't have been able to come back with it. You wouldn't even thought about trying to look for one. So it just doesn't make sense. I don't want, like, do y'all think that I'm ashamed? Like, come on now. Every time y'all go out somewhere and say some dumb, smart comment, it is shameful. I need y'all to get it together. Be logical. Say some logical stuff. That don't even make sense. So anyway, it doesn't mean what y'all think it does. You know, the other thing is like the hair and the weave and stuff. I don't agree with y'all premise, but I do agree with the results, so I haven't said anything. I like the fact that men are now saying we want y'all to get to y'all natural hair. So I didn't question it. But the premise up and underneath it, that if you wear weave, you're fake or you hate yourself, that's not always true. I'll tell you, I wore weave, and I am from Texas, so I liked it big and curly, and I looked so feminine, cute, white, because that is the standard that we all grew up watching. It's already in there. The time to prevent that from being a standard was when we were toddlers, which I did with my kids. Because I didn't want, like, as a kid, I didn't have to get my hair permed until I was 5. I had an aunt who was a beautician. In teenage years, I didn't get to play in my hair. I didn't get to dye my hair. My hands were out of my hair. My aunt did it, and in the interim, my mom might touch up something. But I wasn't allowed to do any experiments on my hair. And you know what? For a while in my childhood, that was apparently my identity. The girl with the long brown hair. And it was kind of goldeny too. I was amazing as a kid. Anyway, the point is, I didn't start wearing weaves until, not even after my first child, like until in the middle of my kids, because it was easier, it was more convenient, it was less things to do in the morning, and I knew exactly what I was going to look like the next day. I didn't have time to think about what I wanted my hair to look like as I walk out the door, because it would be like a representation of me. One of the things I got from my grandmother is, you go outside, you are on stage. You do not go outside looking any kind of way. And I took that to heart. Now, I didn't know why. I thought it was religion, but apparently it's to get men. That was interesting to figure out. But anyway, so I was doing it like a religion. And so I didn't have time for that. And that's how I entered the weave. My hair didn't break off because of weave. My hair broke off once my auntie decided to go do some other stuff and didn't want to be my beautician anymore. So, you know, it's just not knowing how to care for my hair. But since then, I've learned, and I've done my kids' hair, my daughter's hair. So the point for all of that is I was natural a whole lot of my life. The weave came in because I didn't like y'all. I love myself. It wasn't self-hate. It was, I hate y'all. So then I have a big piece of hair. I have my hair big. I don't have to see y'all because I can't see through the curls. Y'all don't know what I look like because this ain't even my hair. So it was hiding from y'all, and it was efficient. Sometimes you miss part of the audience because y'all don't take other things into consideration. With this current campaign for natural hair, y'all would have missed me. But I came to that realization on my own because I always had been natural. growing up becoming an adult, having a whole lot of responsibility where I didn't have time to do me. I had to borrow somebody else's look for a second because I didn't have time to craft into my own. So, men, y'all want natural hair? Well, you need to do something in the community to make it worth it, to make it possible. The creams are expensive because we're just now getting to a part where, like, in the past, it wasn't a whole lot of people needing those, the stuff that we put on our natural hair. So the price went up. The price is going to come down in a second. Just if you buy it, the price will come down. Okay? So if you have a loved one in your life, go ahead and go get them like a basket of natural hair stuff. And it's going to be expensive at first until you talk all your homeboys into doing the same for the women in their lives. And then it can get cheaper. The thing with the nail shop, I'm not condoning his actions, but I am supporting the sentiment. I'm supporting the attitude, the thought process, but not that led to an impulsive behavior that sent him back to jail. I have some thoughts on that. I'm usually in the minority when I speak, so I'm used to it. I think that he got tired of the women going into a place, getting disrespected, and coming home and whining about it. See, our women have a tendency to be so much more confident, so ready to fight other black women. But these Asian women, you didn't say anything to them. You just go in there because in your mind you feel like that's your only option. Do men like when our nails are done? Yes. But I haven't heard an overwhelming majority of them liking professional nails versus just you keeping yours manicured and polished. What I hear is they don't mind either way as long as it's not gaudy and excessive. Like, like the thing that I'm so glad is over with, where people used to have like a bow and chains pierced into the nail. Like, just no, all right? Our people got enough of chain stuff. So, but if you go to the nail shop, and I don't get fake nails. I get, what is it called? Not shellac, but what? Dips, the dips. So it's less abrasive on my real nail. So my real nail is underneath there, but I don't have to worry about polish chipping. I don't have to worry about a lot of stuff that comes with the previous. These nails that they're doing now are not the same nails. So we get a lot of people saying, but it's toxic and all. They have fixed that because so many people have been getting their nails done, okay? It's not the same. So you go in there, and I know you want to be pretty, but if they're disrespecting you, you don't have to sit there and take that. I'm not telling you should have slapped the lady or none of that, but just don't go back. But as a dude who probably is in that community, and women keep going in there, and every day they have a new story. What did the people do this time? What did they say this time? What happened now? I'ma just be real with you. I don't know if it's because I had a dad in my life during my, formative years or not. But if I'm somewhere and a man come in and was like, everybody get out, I'm moving, I'm out. I ain't paying for nothing. We ain't gonna finish these nails. None of that. I'm leaving. I don't need no questions. I ain't asking nothing. Because that's just a little volatile. And if it turns out to be like just a false alarm, well, better safe than sorry. I'm not going to sit there while some black man is walking into somewhere agitated. I'm not going to. I ain't witnessed nothing. I wasn't even there. Okay? So I don't know. Like, I'm sorry. Y'all, the women in that nail shop were wrong. They should have left. But if I was him, I wouldn't listen to no more complaints. Don't tell me nothing else. So I think the actual action was impulsive. But, and I'm going to be stereotypical here, he had done some time. I don't know how long he had been out, but maybe he hadn't readjusted back to the society yet. Like the thing I've heard about people who do time You have to check everything quick and fast and hard so that it doesn't keep happening throughout the rest of your time. And every day is a toss-up on whether or not you're going to wake up the next morning. Now, that's a stressful way to live life. But you have to indoctrinate yourself with that while also simultaneously knowing that you don't have any rights. You are not a human. You're a number that they get money off of, and no one's sugarcoating it for you like they do us on the outside. They're letting you know up front. See, out here, we're still a number. They still make money off of us. But they try to, like, rub our hands so we feel better about the way they finesse us. See, all of that's taken away when you're in there. Because you did something and got caught. That's the general consensus of it. Other people out here might be doing the same thing, but they didn't get caught. Or either they were able to buy their way out of it. So the reason I don't look down on black people who have a criminal record is because it's set up for us to do that anyway. At any moment, any of us could be in there. And you know what you don't get to say at a judge bench or in prison? Even in jail, you don't get to say, well, that's not fair. They doing it. But I just need it. You don't get nothing. You can't say none of that. So they come out, and then they have these hard stance rules that they have followed for survival and for, contentment. They having a little bit of peace in a place where everything is designed to, be just an uproar all the time. They like it that way. They do that on purpose so that you don't keep coming back. So how long had he been out? Had he readjusted? Because that's how he probably would have handled it. If he did, think of some other options for how to handle that. Who listened to him? Did anybody say, okay, yeah, I agree with you. That sounds like a logical, course of action? No. I can guarantee you they didn't. Because if they did, it wouldn't have got that far. Did anybody around him have a plan and include him in it? No. Because you know what we do when people come out? We take them to parties and we keep constantly telling them how everything's changed and they need to hurry up and fix it. We're not going to take no chance on them. We're not going to give them no job. They can't live by themselves. They still, they're out now and they still don't have their rights back. Now, I agree with easing them back into society, but if he comes up with a decent business plan, if it's logical, why not? Because he has the criminal record now. He has a history of breaking rules that's documented. Because I know everybody out here that don't have a background y'all ain't never broke out one rule. Yeah, right. His is on paper. You know what's on paper for other races? Mental illness. Ours? Nah. Every day we're fine. We're okay no matter what's wrong. So we don't get any help. And I think the emotion came out and he was so angry. But he just jeopardized his freedom. And nobody around him was talking to him about this because everybody around him was complaining about how the Asians treat them. Selfish. First off, if you have somebody that's coming back out, you could have just not got your nails done for a while to make sure that this person is going to be okay. See, when we look at other black people, we don't see ourselves. We don't feel connected to other black people. Sometimes I wonder, how do y'all do this stuff to other people? So if we want to be a culture that's known for, finessing people, okay, but not our own. And I wouldn't want anything I had to finesse anyway. It can get taken the same way. You doing a certain action means you're cool with it. And you have to accept if somebody's doing it to you. But y'all don't. You then say, oh, well, I have a way to prevent it from happening to me. Do you really? Okay. That never works out. And you're taking away energy and time and effort from something that could have been productive anyway. So, tattoos, hair, nails. The common consensus is women. If y'all want us to not put on all of that stuff, then we have to see y'all actually appreciating it. To tell us that we're attractive. To call us queen. to even date us or marry us. But then every now and then we catch you, like gazing off at somebody that's not us, means it was a lie. It shouldn't even turn your head. See, the standard of beauty is to have long hair. It's apparently associated with virility. But who made that connection? A bunch of people in the past said that when people have long hair, that it obviously means that they are healthy. And they have their reasons. I'm not going to go into, thought process of ancient history. It made sense for them at that point. And if y'all have any questions about that, I can make another video for that. But as it stands today, science tells us, and somebody invented scissors. Yep, somebody put two knives together in opposite directions and made it easy for you to chop off some stuff if you don't want it that way. People only look older with shorter hair, or masculine with shorter hair, because that's what we assigned. What if men don't cut their hair? Is he not a man? And y'all literally tell him that. So the problem is always trying to find some box to put people in because it makes it easier for you, so you think. But it does not make it easier for you. It makes it harder for you, because when you meet an exception, or if you meet somebody that has already gone through, identifying themselves, and you miss out on some opportunity, it's just not logical anymore. It used to make sense. We have science, so there could be people who have short hair because they cut their hair. There could be people who have short hair, and it doesn't mean, like disease or infection or anything. That used to be the connotation, but now it's not. Now we know different. Science helped us to look inside of people and realize that, okay, well, nothing's going on. It's just their hair coils, and so it's shorter. Our hair grows up. We can't have our hair hanging down because it's not designed that way. It's not supposed to do that. It's not what it's for. If you as a man have hair that grows upward, why do you want a woman whose hair grows down? It doesn't match you. It looks awkward. Now, I'm not knocking y'all for y'all preferences. But at that moment, you don't get to tell me anything about my clothes, my tattoos, my hair, nothing. Because I don't trust you. Because I feel like you're measuring me according to somebody else. I'm not saying that you need to be kicked out of the culture, but you do need to be educated some more. Because you are using a different ruler. If that's what you think is beauty, if that's what you think is your love interest, you're not judging me on criteria that I could meet. You're no longer involved, and what we are going to determine is good and preferable for our society. I'm not saying we got to treat you like a leper, but you don't get to say so. And the reason is because you can't tell her she's beautiful and me at the same time. No one can go back and forth like that for very long. As you get older, your life, physical health, a whole lot of stuff is going to make you choose. So why not just choose now? So if you can't tell me what I should be doing with my hair, if you don't know what my hair feels like anymore, why would I listen to that? That's arrogant for you to think that you can still do that. I'm tired of... So black men, y'all gonna define men and women? Y'all gonna define both. Why? All this leadership and all of this, fighting other races to protect us and all of that kind of stuff. You don't got time to be telling us what a good woman is gonna be. You can tell us what you want the end result to be. But you can't tell us who's capable. You can't tell us how to get there. Because you got stuff to do. You got some boys in your camp that you need to be, molding. You tell us what the end result is. And then you tell us what the end result of y'all is so that we know what we supposed to say. So that I will give you. Because if we left it up to be honest with you, If we left that up to women, I don't know what we'd get. And that's not even about the emotional part, because you can still rule with your emotions. I disagree with y'all when y'all say that, but there's a part of fear. Men are raised up knowing that they're gonna die, tragically probably, and if they make it to old age, it's an accomplishment. It's an active goal that they work on throughout their lives. Women are not told that. We're told to stay out the way, to make more people if they lose some in battle. So we don't grow up, we grow up fearful. Any small thing that we do in our pregnancy means we may not have a valuable replacement for whoever died yesterday. So we grow up fearful, and men grow up, I don't really know what the word for it is, but kind of ready to die at any moment, always on guard, hyper aware, and you have to be able to accept that about your existence. Can any woman say that they do that? Black women have a little piece of being able to do that, but it's nowhere near what it is like for men. So yes, being black, we do have that, but imagine having that doubly. So women deciding what the world should look like, nothing would ever get done. And I say that as a woman. I'm not saying that women are incompetent. What I'm saying is we got our own stuff to do. We got stuff that we supposed to be paying attention to. We don't have time for that. Now, we need to be talking to the younger version, the younger generation of girls now, and showing them the error of their ways, not just talking crap and calling them names and berating them. Y'all like to say stuff like, oh, well, my kid would never. This is your kid. See, y'all need to get out of that thought process. Men worry so much about raising another man's child, and y'all have all these disrespectful names for kids that aren't yours. What community? Because if the kid didn't come out of you specifically, you can't have nothing to do with it, right? That is childish. That is selfish and childish. The world does not work that way. It never has. There's a reason for that. So you think you only have to work with people who came out of your body, right? Why would you think that that's okay? Why do you think that you get to do that? You don't. You don't get to choose that. So just stop it. If that's the case, we wouldn't have no teachers. See, what happens if we don't get to get money anymore? Huh? What happens if, with all of this stuff that we're not able to go to school anymore that was already set up by them? Well, according to y'all, we just gonna all sit there and never learn nothing else. Because we're not gonna, we can't come together and everybody have one job and then you do that job for everybody in the community. We wouldn't have any teachers because you got to get paid to do anything for a kid that ain't yours. That is retarded. Do y'all know that? Do y'all hear y'allself? Do y'all know how y'all sound? Where is the logic in that? Because what, you think that they're gonna grow up and disrespect you? Why your feelings on your shoulder like that? Why you taking it personal? I don't like adults who argue with kids. As an adult, you know more than them. If you can't outsmart a kid, if you got to resort to putting your hands on a child, then you dumb. You stupid. I'm sorry. You can't think of any more words. You can't think of any actions. You are not equipped to lead anything. And it's an emotional break because you feel like everybody should just take something, from you when you say it. Kids are born inquisitive. They come in here to ask questions. I usually go one step further and say that they come in here to remind us of our true nature, what we would be like if nothing was taught. What fits in with nature. You know, if your species is aligned with nature, is if you can give birth to it and it can survive without you actively putting it in a bubble. Do you see, like, certain animals, they carry their kids with them, you know, like in a pouch, or they are in a, you know, in a group of them or whatever. But from birth, they got to come out here walking, and they eat what they find. Nobody's going and making soy milk formula for this one calf that can't take its mother's milk or whatever. You know, none of that. So if we had got anything right on this planet, we wouldn't need all of these allowances. It's like adapters that help us plug into the universe, because, you know, we don't have the right plug. So you got to have like a little adapter to switch over. So if you, in my opinion, if you have to argue with a kid, if you can't get them to see your way, then you just need to not be in charge of nothing. How do you get adults to see your way? Do you hit them too? When you go to work, do you have any ideas that you bring there that are valuable? Probably not. We don't need to raise kids that flinch every time somebody hit them, and then when they get older, they get numb. There was a purpose for that in the past. It is not anymore. Let it go. Why do you want a kid that doesn't flinch anymore when you hit them? I've literally heard kids say, oh, well, whatever. What they gonna do but hit me? That's quicker. That's easier than taking away privileges, than listening to a lecture, than being shown why what you said was appropriately. If you can't prove what you're saying to these kids, if you can't prove it, then you stupid. Then why are you giving an order that you don't know for certain? Like, you can't explain it. So why did you come up with this theory? Oh, somebody told you. So, you know, things evolve. It's obsolete. That's how you get trapped in the past. That's why other cultures are in front of us. Not because they're more capable, but because we get complacent. You might have had a snide side-eye look today from a person of a different race. But did they drag you into a crowd of people, string you up, whip you, kill you today? No? Well, then, you know what we could do to take that edge off of our actions? Is to realize that that's not something that they're doing now. They don't have the support that they used to have. They have to go and do things where you get, you know, arrested, and then they tell people that you broke the law, and then they lock you up, and then they can do whatever because nobody's there. They're not just doing this stuff all out and willy-nilly for their own entertainment at every whim anymore. Now they have to prove it. And they don't get to throw black people under the bus anymore. That's what it sounds like when men talk about women, when black men talk about black women. It sounds like y'all are saying you want us to take the responsibility for everything so that you can say that you didn't mess up the community, and then maybe other races will respect you. Newsflash, that's not why they don't respect you. They don't respect you because they don't have to. What you gonna do? Their women don't get out of line because nobody's going into their culture snatching those men up if they do anything. Whether black women call the police or not, did y'all forget that they was already in our communities? We didn't have to call very hard. And why are you putting your hands on people like that you don't have to anyway? I get that that was how kids were raised in the past, but we wasn't the only culture beating our kids. But everybody else has stopped because they saw what the damage is. You hitting your kids all the time when they get something wrong, even though you have not explained anything, just trial and error, like a maze. They just keep running into brick walls, and then you beat them because they didn't take the right turn. You just, if that's how you're guiding and raising kids, what are they gonna do when they grow up? Oh, fat meat ain't greasy until somebody starts yelling and pulling out a weapon. That's why. They don't care about elders. They don't care about cops, because they've been trained not to listen unless somebody's getting ready to kill them. I hate when I hear parents say something like, "Oh, these black kids is bad." Really? They bad. Why? They might be misinformed. They might have other character traits. They might be impulsive. They might be incessant. But bad? All those things are bad? Those things in and of themselves are not bad. And they have a usefulness in purpose in our community, in existence. You just got to figure out how to use it, how to utilize it. I feel like we take our kids out of their natural purpose. We don't know what these kids are born for, what they're here to do. Because you need your life to be comfortable and quiet. Maybe you got a kid that is going to find the cure for cancer. But you beating them every time you see any of your eggs missing. So now he can't do it. Now we all just walking around here shriveling up because you selfish. Because you wanted it quiet. We might have a kid in our community who, I don't know, like, that invents the best weapon of mass destruction, and then America's safe. But we can't because he burned down your apartment and now you mad. That's just funny. I'm just kidding. But that's the sentiment behind it. It has a reason. If they're drawn to it, that is a clue. But you need to show everybody that you got your kids in check. Your kids, yours wouldn't do that, huh? Well, what difference does it make? Because if they surrounded by other people's kids who would and are doing it, how long do you think yours gonna last? Another fun disclosure story. High school, right? So, everybody's trying out their hands with boyfriends and all of these activities that y'all do that your parents would not like, and also your pastor would frown on, right? Anyway, I wasn't doing all of that because I was trying to be a goody two shoes. I just literally didn't have the desire. That never crossed my mind. If I was left to my own devices and I got to pick what I wanted to do for a day, that literally wouldn't be on the list. Not being scared, because there's a way to sneak and do anything. It's just I had a bunch of other stuff on the list that I wanted to do first. Like, okay, I'll get to them niggas later. They're going to be there tomorrow. If I got a fun day where the money is no object, I'm going to pick some stuff I can't have. Y'all I can have. Sit down somewhere. So, that's what I think, that if y'all want these kids to stop doing what you consider to be bad behaviors, get their interest into something else. I had other interests. And plus, y'all, boys in high school got on my nerves. Y'all just used to do stupid stuff. And if it wasn't funny, just it's always some retarded conundrum. I remember thinking, I can't wait until I don't have, these ain't my kids, right? I need my own house so that I can say, no, you niggas can't come over here. Y'all don't want to see y'all today. Hell no, because y'all act up. So yeah, I was a nerdy kid, but I liked my nerdiness, because if it doesn't matter, I wasn't gonna try to be popular because they was gonna always find me doing some nerdy stuff anyway. I couldn't stay away from it, and I was also bitchy, but cute. And y'all, because they got on my nerves. I'm not sorry. Y'all just know they did a whole lot just for why. I'm still not sorry. Even as an adult, I look back, y'all was still wrong. But the point for all of that is I didn't have to get beaten. I did, though, because nobody can believe that one person out of the whole group is not doing it. I didn't complain. I know the good have to suffer for the bad, blah, 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 all of that stuff. And I also know, how would you know if I'm telling the truth, right? What difference does it make? I understand why, but what I'm saying is, that's not the answer to how that's laziness, I think. You investigate whether a nigga you dating or your husband or whatever is cheating on you, but you won't investigate on who when y'all say all the kids in the room is getting toe up, why? If something break in the room, where were you? Had you given them an order to do something? Because otherwise, they didn't break any of your rules. If you didn't give them anything to do, what were they supposed to be doing? Nothing. Because you were on the phone or watching TV. Kids have to be taught to self-manage. I know I feel like black parents jump too early to the place where your kids can entertain themselves. And then that's what happens. And then you want to get mad. And then that prevents them, when they're old enough to have the reasoning to do so, from being willing to or to know how to self-manage. Your 7 or 8-year-old does not know how to make themselves less bored. You have to teach them that, so that when they are 14 and 15 and they get bored, they know how to entertain themselves. You can't jump to that all early. And what you doing anyway, that's so much more important than the kids. You got to work 2 jobs, you tired? Okay. We all are. But you're going to be even more tired. Like, get that under control first. And then you can rest. It's labor intensive in the beginning. And then it get easier if you did it right going forward. So do y'all trust your parenting skills? And what does all of this have to do with like tattoos and prejudging people? Because I think a lot of conflict, I think a lot of confusion in our community is because we prejudge people through somebody else's eyes. I don't for 1 second believe that other races just think that we're inherently savage, that we can't do anything positive or helpful. I think, and because I'm so open to talk to other people, they're able to get candid with me. And I have reason to believe that they were telling the truth. They don't think that we're inherently just lawless and amoral. They know it's a reaction. Kind of like a tantrum, and they just stand out the way. And when we calm down, they're looking forward to seeing what we actually consider black culture to be. What we're doing right now in our existence is kind of like the equivalent of being stood up, right? So you get mad, you yell, you call a person names, you might even throw stuff, I guess, I don't know, depending on the limits of your anger. And everybody just stand back and don't get hit with stuff, and they just let you get it all out your system. Or either like when you let 2 people fight because they've been bickering back and forth all of the time, and you're like, no, let them go ahead and get it out their system and just everybody stay back. And then you only intervene if it gets too far. So that's kind of what I'm picturing. I think white people no longer have the interest in oppressing us. They will if they can get away with it and if they have to. So what I'm saying is I understand that we still need to be on alert. And probably we still need to be on high alert. But we also need to be doing something that shows us what it's going to look like when we're free of all oppression. Do you even know what we're going to do? We're still operating in it, and they're not actively doing anything. We're doing it to ourselves now. And I get why. And it's going to be hard work to change that. It's going to take time, effort, resources. It is not going to happen overnight. But you have to put in the work. It's not fun. But is it going to be fun to stay? And we're not in dire straits like previous generations either. They're angry with our generation because they feel like we have no idea what it's like to actually be oppressed, and they not even sugarcoating it. They not making no excuses. Ain't nobody trying to hear the truth. And that's what they taught us, because that's the world that they lived in. We can't teach our kids that. They taught us that for a reason. And what do? We survived until we're adults, and we lobbied and made laws and changed because we didn't like it. But do we know what we don't like and what we're going to ask our kids to change? Because see, our parents didn't tell us. We had to figure it out. Can we be the generation that tells our kids where they don't have to figure it out? We talk with them. We explain it to them. This is a generation of kids, from what I see, that actually want parents. They're sad when they do all of these stories about their parents not caring. They're crying and fighting. I think they would listen. All the stuff that we hated about our childhood, that's not why we might be successful. It's in spite of that. And the reason is because if you didn't like it, it still placed you in a negative thought process. So you weren't thinking of anything good if you were unhappy. Unless you were forced to and you made yourself do it. Or somebody showed you a way to still think positively through that. But it's not natural. So it took work. So, in conclusion, I think y'all focusing on the wrong stuff. And that is not going to ever lead to anything that we claim we want. I don't know if this is common knowledge or not. I don't even know if it's logical. But if you've seen this video, you can't say you didn't know. Bye.